Itachi was never bound by the trappings of clan. He was able to think ahead about the future shinobi and of the village. Uh, Misgivings regarding his futures. He thought like a Hokage at the age of 7. Um, he left everything to Itachi alone, acted his missions perfectly, slaughtered all of his brethren, stopped the revolt,
What a
prevented a coming war all
great
by himself.
shinobi! Slaughtered his
He
brother.
even infiltrated the Akatsuki as a spy to protect the village, on the condition that I protect you within the village. Um, so that's what Hashirama's got to work with. So I think the big thing is he's not bound by the trappings of a clan. He's thinking about the shinobi and village. He does all these things for the village. That's what Hashirama is like getting at. Because because what did Hashirama say to Madara? I won't forgive anyone who threatens this village, whether it be my... Okay, you know what, real quick? I need to go pull up that scene because I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm missing one part. It's like a friend... Oh, is it friend, brother, or even my own child? Okay, because I'm like, what is the third one? Friend must be the one I was forgetting. Because I always just kept saying brother or very own child. But I'm like, what is the one I'm missing? Yeah, it's friend, brother. Okay, I don't know why. I just felt like I was missing one. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says that, and what does Itachi do? Literally that.
Exactly. So, again, you can say Will of Fire, it's whatever, greatest extent to the go. I think it's both because it's not...
Well, but I mean, Hashirama's Will of Fire is doing anything for the village. It gets darker and darker, as he himself says in this conversation. My things gave rise to these things in the future. Like, it became a slippery slope. Is Hashirama necessarily saying he wants people to massacre the clans? No, but his philosophy was a slippery slope that led to Danzo, basically.
So, because there's two different ways to look at it that are very similar but very different. Naruto was willing to go as far as he needed to go in order to stop Obito. He's enduring like a shinobi.
Yeah.
He's willing to endure to any extent. That's different from something like something like Sasuke, who was willing to go to the darkest depths, no matter what, to do what he needed to do. That's different.
Yeah, so the thing is that Naruto insisted on not doing anything dark, basically.
But he was never going to give up. He was willing to endure. He was going to go to any length to make sure his Will of Fire stayed strong, whereas Itachi is willing to do anything, go to any extent.
I would just argue Naruto's Will of Fire is just a little bit different.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So that's what I mean when I say the Will of Fire compared to like the dark version, quote unquote, of the Will of Fire, the Tuli, the Shinobi Will of Fire.
Yeah.
The Hashirama, the Hiruzen Will of Fire, with Hiruzen's war speech in the prelims.
Yeah, like Naruto just has a positive Will of Fire.
Exactly. Basically. Yeah. And again, at the beginning of the series, that's how the Will of Fire is portrayed. But actually, the whole time, that goes back to the propaganda. That's not what it actually was.
I actually think that's always good on Kishimoto's part. And I'm not. And I don't. I would disagree with anyone who calls it, oh, it's a retcon. No, I think that's because throughout this story, we're learning more and more about the bad things of Shinobi
exactly
history. And it is sprinkled in there. And you can retroactively look and see, it does work really well for the long-term storytelling. So it's also for rereadability. When you go back and look, it's like, you see some of those things that Hiruzen says in the tuning exams, and it's like, that's kind of instilling that philosophy. It's when you see Naruto's reaction.
Exactly, I completely agree. I think this is one of the most beautiful things in Naruto. It adds a lot of rewatchability too, like you said, because there's a lot of dark truths and secrets that are right there the whole time. But at the beginning of the series, just like the characters in Universe who are naive, we don't know that at the time. And when we learn these things and confront these characters that have been built up as these great, grandiose, positive, literal figures of light grandfathers, like Hiruzen, the Will of Fire, who supports his family, turns out this whole time he's been regretting all the bad choices he's made behind the scenes that have been there all along.
Exactly. And it's not just Orochimaru. It's one of them, obviously, but it's even with Orochimaru, we'll just use, because I just rewatched this scene not for anything related to this reason, but because Naruto's so good that I was like, well, I might as well play the rest of the episode. And you go back to what Hiruzen says about Orochimaru with the whole, like, I had seen it, but pretended not to notice thing. What does he say? It's a time of war. We need a shinobi like you. So Hiruzen ignored Orochimaru's, like, emotional state because he wanted him to fight in a war, basically. I'm making this sound as mean as possible, but does that not scream the shinobi tool thing when you think about it?
Thank you. Oh my god, Kamui, thank you. Because for so long, I've been saying this, and people have just been outright denying that it exists at all. And that, Naruto's only saying, it's such a shallow, surface level view of the series of like, that's the narrative, and it's not anything nuanced or beyond that. Like,
beyond what, specifically?
Everything that we're explaining about the Will of Fire.
Okay. I was like, is it specifically the Orochimaru part? Like,
well, no, it applies to Orochimaru part, but I think it applies to everything.
I don't think I've never heard anyone else talk about that. Like,
well, to be fair,
like I said, that was one of those things
that
I was coincidentally watching earlier and thinking about, like, it before this even happened. But I'm not even planning on talking about it.
Okay, well, it's perfect that you are saying all that, because a lot of the stuff that you're explaining there about the Will of Fire, the positive version versus the negative version, I think that applies to more than just the Will of Fire. I think that applies to a lot of things in Naruto, which would include Madara. And that's not to say that we need to have a new Madara discussion, but that's to apply retroactively, because we've had a lot of conversations like this in the past where you've disagreed with me because of this very notion.